Caroline Ellison has been sentenced to 2 years in prison as well as 3 years of supervised release. And within that 3-year supervised release term, she must cooperate with the SEC, CFTC, and the bankruptcy estate. Sorry, I took notes on a Holiday Inn notepad. My handwriting is horrible. Anyway, I was actually very surprised by this. I thought she was going to get off easy. Judge Lewis Kaplan spent the majority of the sentencing hearing just remarking on how great a cooperator Caroline was. He said that in his 30 years of being a judge, he has never seen a cooperator quite like Caroline. I mean, Caroline is officially the queen of the rats. Good for her. He also remarked on how he felt her remorse was genuine, unlike Sam Bankman-Fried. Judge Lewis Kaplan said that he felt Sam Bankman-Fried was certainly sorry, but sorry for getting caught, whereas he felt that Caroline Ellison felt truly sorry. I mean, Caroline, I was in the courtroom with her, sitting not too far away from her family, and Caroline did tear up as she spoke on the stand. And throughout all of that, I was just thinking, oh, she's going to get off scot-free. So Judge Lewis Kaplan did spend the majority of the hearing talking about how wonderful her cooperation was. But at the end, he said, despite all of this cooperation, it should not be a literal get out of jail free card. And then I was like, oh shit, something's going to go down. So he, as I said, ultimately sentenced Caroline Ellison to 2 years in prison as close to the Boston area as possible, as well as 3 years of supervised release, as well as an $11 billion forfeiture, which is the same amount as Sam Bankman-Fried. If we do take a step back, based on these sentencing guidelines alone, Caroline Ellison, who pled guilty to these 7 charges, and Sam Bankman-Fried, based on the sentencing guidelines, were both facing a maximum of 110 years, which I think speaks volumes, because I think that kind of alludes to the fact that they were nearly equally as culpable. But Caroline, because of her extensive cooperation, managed to get out of this with 2 years. Meanwhile, Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years in prison. And in case you don't remember, Ryan Salem, who was actually a lesser executive in the whole FTX debacle, was sentenced to 7 years. But we need to keep in mind that Ryan Salem did not cooperate with the government against Sam Bankman-Fried. He did not testify at Sam Bankman-Fried's trial. So Ryan Salem got more than 3 times what Caroline got, simply because he did not cooperate with the government. So I guess the moral of the story here is that you can do as many bad things as you want, but as long as you cooperate extensively and rat on the co-conspirators or rat on the big fish, you could get out of this relatively scot-free. Obviously, she's not getting out completely scot-free, but you know, close enough. There is no parole in the federal system, so the most amount of time she can get off is 15% for good time. So she's going to have to serve 85% of those 2 years, and then we'll have that 3 years of supervised release. Some people have asked me, was Caroline immediately shipped off to prison? No, she is still currently out on bail. So she's not currently incarcerated at all. So she's just going to be able to go right home from here, it seems. So her surrender date, when she actually reports to prison, will be on or after November 7th. So those are the updates. I'm curious as to if you guys think this was a fair sentence, if you guys were shocked by this sentence, because part of me actually thought that she might get out of this with 0 prison time. So I was shocked she got a sentence, but it still feels, you know, like not too much, honestly. 2 years, I mean, that's like half a college degree after committing what even Judge Kaplan said was one of the largest scale frauds in all of US history. I will say that Caroline should be a bit concerned for her safety because, as many of you may know, rats and cooperators are not quite taken kindly to in a prison environment. A lot of people that are in prisons are there because they were ratted on. So I think she should watch her back. Let me be clear, this is not a threat. I will not be in prison with Caroline. I'm just saying she should be quite nervous about the fact that she will indeed be going to prison and is known as the queen of the rats now. There has never been a cooperator quite like Caroline in all my 30 years of being a judge. I would say that her argument for leniency was essentially that she was so enamored by Sam Bankman-Fried and that her self-esteem became so inextricably intertwined with Sam Bankman-Fried's approval that she felt that she couldn't stray from Sam's direction. Her lawyers described the fact that when she met Sam, she was still in college, and she got to watch him sort of blossom into this famous, well-respected entrepreneur who accumulated billions of dollars. So she had respect for him and had a crush on him from day one when she had met him back in the college days. Someone said, how many years did Sam Bankman-Fried get? Sam Bankman-Fried, like I've said, was sentenced to 25 years in prison. To be clear, someone asked, Caroline will not be in the same prison as Sam Bankman-Fried. Judge Lewis Kaplan recommended she be sent to a prison as close to the Boston area as possible, whereas Sam Bankman-Fried was recommended to a prison as close to the San Francisco Bay Area as possible. So they will actually be quite far from each other across the country. And you should note that either way, even if they were in the same facility, which I don't think the BOP would allow in the first place, men and women are separated in prisons. If you guys have any more questions or anything else you guys are curious about, please leave them down below in the comments. I really appreciate the support. Gary Wong and Nishad Singh are yet to be sentenced. They will be sentenced within the next couple of months. So if you guys really want me to attend those sentencing hearings and report on that, then feel free to let me know in the comments. You know, it's a little bit tough to pay for all of the flights and hotel rooms on my own. Feel free to send me a donation. I have left my donation links down below in the description box. It's just quite a bit to pay out of pocket because, as you know, I am not employed by anyone. I'm not employed by an outlet. Also, right outside the courthouse, I'm going to include the shitty footage I tried to take of Caroline Ellison entering the courthouse. There's our girl, Caroline.
Who's the other woman?
Hey, it's me, Tiff, and in case you've never heard of me before, I've been independently covering fraud and bankruptcies in the crypto space. Because of this, I know a lot of people who follow me or might recognize me were once customers of FTX. Well, that's where FTX Creditor comes in. FTX Creditor will buy your FTX bankruptcy claim and pay you immediately in USDC. FTX Creditor has actually bought more FTX claims than all of the other claims buyers combined. FTX Creditor even buys small claims as low as $1,800, all the way up to claims as large as $10 million. So if you're interested in selling your FTX claim for immediate liquidity or in selling your Voyager, BlockFi, or Celsius stub, you can go to ftxcreditor.com or contact them on Telegram at @FTXCreditor or on X at @FTXCreditor_com.